But all right, yeah, my name's Cameron Ripley. I'm with Purpose Home Lending, NMLS 2613494, and then my personal one 2513499. Wait, 2314695. I've had so many different numbers over the years for different licenses. But yeah, one of the things we're talking about today is how to start a business. Let me sharing my screen here. We do have a guest speaker that'll be coming and sharing as well. But just to make an introduction to them, in part of starting a business, there are a lot of misconceptions that I've learned over the years, and I've started a lot of different companies for various reasons. The ones I run right now, I will stick with forever until they're done, and then do whatever after that. But learned a lot of things the hard way, and so that's what a lot of this is for people looking to start any type of smaller business. If you're looking to really start one that takes a lot of investors, and you're out raising money, that might be a totally different conversation for various reasons. But one of the first misconceptions that I get from a lot of people and a lot of businesses is building a business credit, and that you can qualify off business credit. Shoot, I even have friends at car dealerships who get people all the time that are convinced that they can just use their business credit versus their own credit. Most loans and most financial institutions, even though there are ways to build business credit, a lot of times they're going to want to get a credit score from someone that is a majority owner of some kind. So usually what they say is if you at least have 25% ownership or more, they want one person with that much ownership to run their credit. So when it comes to credit, whether you intend to get financing or not, it is something that is worth the investment to spend money to monitor, improve, get that going. There's two main things, I think. One is financial tracking tools to track income, expenses, really get some good insights. And then also on your credit is credit tracking and insights on how to improve it. Because I've had so many times where people look to expand and their credit just isn't quite there, and they just don't get as good of resources for whatever reason, even if it's just personal things. Like I have some friends that own a cleaning company that does commercial cleaning. They're starting to make really good money, but they learned about credit cards and how credit cards can get them points. Well, they've put so much focus into trying to build their business credit, and they stopped paying attention to their personal credit. They realized they weren't able to get points with, they weren't able to get approved with a lot of American Express travel cards because their credit score wasn't where it should be. And this is a good spot, I guess, to have the introduction for Rahul with, I think it's Kickoff, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Actually, I was supposed to, yeah, I'm going to be presenting a brand today. So basically, thank you for passing it on to me, Cameron. And today's meetup is sponsored by a brand. And before I share more, I do have one quick question where we are going to be dropping off a quick survey link into the chat where basically I would want everyone to fill in, and I will just put that in. And this is a survey that I would like everyone to fill in, and basically I can just go ahead and share my screen and show you how the survey looks.
Perfect.
So before we start, I would like I wanted to ask, have you heard of any company or tool that helps people build US credit at low cost? So please do make your selection. I would say no, because I have one. And then, yeah, and then I would just wait for some people to answer, and then I would go ahead and yeah, well, thank you so much for the quick survey and participation. We'd like to say a quick thank you to recognize the sponsor of this event that is Kickoff. And I'm just going to share how Kickoff works. So basically, Kickoff is a low cost credit building company designed to help people start building credit in a simple, low stress way. So this is how Kickoff looks, and it's very useful for credit building. And yeah, this is what I wanted to show, and I will pass on um the discussion to you, Cameron. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. We've had Kickoff join a few different presentations we've had, and I think it's for the cost, it's an effective tool. Yeah, to really get into how to start a business, one of the main things I like people to start off with is not just having a business idea, but having a goal in mind of where they want to end up. What kind of lifestyle you want. What is the purpose of owning the business? If it's just, hey, I want to have control over my time and a good work-life balance, owning a business is probably not that. If it's, hey, my current employer drives me crazy, I don't get compensated for my time, and I'm really good at this, and even when I do it part-time, I really have a lot of traction, then okay, we might have something here. Or if you just have a great idea, a great skill set, whatever it might be, or even if you do just want to work for yourself, I think that's great. I think it's great to have bigger, better goals as well. So things like, hey, I want to have this kind of an income. I eventually want to have this kind of a lifestyle. I eventually want to do all these things lifestyle based, because it's going to help you backwards plan where to take your business. Years ago, I ended up getting on a call with some of the top business coaches now. I mean, these were people that sold companies for a lot of money, and I haven't seen them on Baller Busters yet, for anyone who knows what that is. These specific individuals, one of them, there may or may not have been a movie made about him. Actually, there was. And one of the things that they really told me is whenever you build a company, you want to build it as if you're going to sell it. So get it to a point where it's going to be sellable. The reason why is because most people who build any business, any company, at some point, if that company lasts and they've been doing it for a long time, they start to want to sell it. And the reason why most business brokers, when they ask them, which I have a good friend who's a business broker, he always asks, he says, why do you want to sell your business? And a lot of times they're just tired, they're done, they want to move on to something else, whatever it might, they want to retire, whatever it might be. Now, what he tells them is if you want to sell it for this certain amount, you need to get it producing better and you need to make it sellable. He says what happens most of the time is once they fix certain things and they make it sellable, they enjoy their life in the business more because it operates better and it operates more efficiently in so many different ways. So one of the things he likes to tell people, and what the advice I got was, build a company as if you're going to sell it because it'll help you build it better versus just saying, hey, I want to grow some plants and go sell them at the farmer's market. What is the purpose? Because at some point you're going to get sick. Who's going to go sell it? How are you going to operate that? How are you going to handle it? And so it'll help you backwards plan. And so that's the big part. The next part is assessing your financial situation. I've had so many people have come to me saying, I've got this great business idea, they share it, whatever. I was somewhat in this boat at one point when I looked to start a farm with a couple people. And there were reasons why, our end goal matched with what we wanted to do with the farm, but we way underestimated how much income it would take to run that farm. And then we really underestimated how much time and energy would go into running that farm in that location. And we got to a point where we realized we need to either bring in a huge investor who really wants to back us, and we're going to spend all of our time here, or we need to go build something else so we have enough working capital so that we're not having to spend every ounce of our time here and living on this farm. So one of the things you want to do before starting is really be honest with your financial situation. That might mean that you wait a couple months and set some financial goal to save money, but you really want to be aware of how much time and energy you actually have. I've had people that restructure their entire business idea. Not that I'm any business coach. I just like to help some people. I don't think want to be a business coach. But one of the things that I've had people do is recently, single mom, very, I think like 5 kids. I'm pretty sure 5 kids, not a ton of time. However, she has a really good skill set in making really custom woodworked furniture. And it kind of, the way she had to structure her business was very different than what she originally thought, because she has so many other commitments, and the time and energy that goes into that kind of stuff was very different. And so the way she structured it was different. And so at a surface level, just make some estimations, make some plans. It doesn't have to be perfect. I will say that some planning is vastly better than no planning at all. And most people who start different businesses, I have found, tend to have no plan at all. Comparing your ideas and goals, going and validating it. It's not just about if they think it's a good idea. Really, it's what is the need that you're looking for, that you're looking to solve, and do people actually want to solve it? For instance, my company, Purpose Home Lending, has a personal finance management tool for individuals and also for businesses. Same cost, pretty much same setup, just different experience, where you can integrate all your bank accounts, track all your spending, get insights, get an idea of all the subscriptions you have, and so on and so forth. I mean, there's a lot that it does. And when I looked at integrating and adding through this company that helps set up the integrations, they said, well, there's a lot of these out there. What makes yours different? And I have a list of things that are different, but at the end of the day, what I realized when I talk to people and when I talk to my clients on the lending side, no one had heard about this kind of stuff. As a business owner, I didn't know that there was a place where I can link all of my credit card accounts, bank accounts, loan accounts, and track all my income and expenses in one place, and click a button for an AI agent to analyze all my finances and make recommendations on where I can cut expenses and how I can increase some of our revenue with just simple insights. And so I had to tell this person, from my experience, a lot of people, there might be a lot of these platforms out there. One, I know ours is a little more affordable, but two, I think that we're end users. And so we're creating this tool with us in mind. Like, I know what I would want to see because I am that end user. Whereas a lot of these companies, to be honest, just get developers to build it out, and there's no real end user in mind. So you're going to find yourself looking at functions that don't make any sense. But the other thing was the method of how we were distributing it. A lot of these companies were paying for advertisement all over social media, and it's hard to know what's real and what's not real. And a lot of what we do is we work with people who get face-to-face with clients that need help with financing. So, or finances. So, parents, advisors to parents, financial advisors, mortgage brokers, real estate agents. And so that's what helped validate our idea. For instance, I have multiple friends in my area in Roseville, California, that all have cleaning companies. They all make a lot of money with their cleaning company. And it's crazy because there's a lot of cleaning companies out there. But you know how they validated it was they started off by saying, well, I think I want to start a cleaning company. Let me just put it out there. And they immediately got people who were interested, and they said, okay, great. There clearly is a need. For some reason, even though there's so many companies, there's not a lot of people. Hold on, let me let someone in. Our note taker. For some reason, there's just not a lot of people who know about these cleaning companies. So there's lots of ways to validate an idea. You can always, one of my favorite ways recently was going to an AI tool. Our site, our personal finance management application called My Asset Path. Right now it's free because we're beta testing it. If anyone wants to give us a bunch of insights, it's free for now. So please sign up and set up your accounts. But there's an AI coach in there. And I told the AI coach, hey, this is my business. This is where my ultimate end result. I think the path to get there is to do this. What do you think? I'm open to recommendations and any insights. And it said, I love your end idea. I love your current business, but the path to get there is totally wrong. And here's why. And honestly, it was very true. So that is a cheap and easy way to do it. And it's very accurate. Next is really creating a financial plan. You're going to really want to dive in some AI tools are not as good as others like ChatGPT and Gemini. Unfortunately for this, just haven't been. You got to remember, they're AI, but at the same time, they're just searching the internet to find information from what other people coach on. But you want to think, what are all of the possible expenses I'm going to have? And let me build a framework. So like if I were starting a mortgage company again, I would look at, I need a CRM, I need a loan operating system, I need a way to pull credit, I need compliance this, I need that. Now I need a email work environment like Google Workspace, which I love Google Workspace. So if anyone wants recommendations, I can recommend several tools with them that are amazing and super cheap. But one of the things is I would make a list of how much just that costs and how much it would cost per loan officer that I hired, plus the cost to hire them. And that would break down, instead of just going for it, that will help you operate a lot better. This is a recommendation. This is where I think having an AI tool or someone in your life that can recommend what percentage of your operating expenses do you want to keep in savings. What is a minimum start? How we might need. This wasn't really a client, but someone that looked to us for a few business-related products that we do offer, and they wanted some insight when it came to it. So we kind of let them know, hey, based on your business, just so you understand, it's going to be a 40-hour a week monthly business commitment hours, 40 hours a month for that business. I think this is the lady who has the woodworking company, plus about $5K that you need, 25% saved in reserves. And there were various reasons why, and we just gave that as a recommendation. And then overspending. This is why tracking expenses is so important. Like with our tool, My Asset Path, you will find yourself signing up for things all over the planet and forgetting about it. Even things like starting up your business, this is one of my biggest recommendations to anyone. Regardless of the state you're in, the cheapest, best way to start a business, once again, if you have investors or multiple partners, you need to go get an attorney to help you draft documents. This is for, I just want to start an entity and be protected by it. This could be a corporation, a C, which with a C or S corp election, which you could just do some reading and figure out which one. Usually it's an S corp election, or an LLC. Going to most states' Secretary of State website, and if you can't figure it out, you just literally send them an email and they'll direct you. Because I've started businesses in multiple states, and it's, you can go to ZenBusiness, you can go to LegalZoom and spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, or you can just go to these companies' websites. For instance, California is not known to be the cheapest state. To start a business, when you go to the Secretary of State website, which actually it's biz.ca.gov, it's probably $50 to start an LLC, S corp. And what I get a lot of, like I've had a few flipper clients say, well, I want to make sure that I'm setting it up correctly so that there's no issues. And what I told them is, you're the only owner. It's an LLC. You can't mess it up. You just file it. Now, what you can mess up is commingling funds and things like that. But that is not going to get answered by ZenBusiness or LegalZoom. That is going to be what you want to get an attorney for, or just do some reading. It's pretty common sense stuff. But, being very careful that you're not always signing up for a third party that just is trying to make things convenient for you. A lot of this is pretty easy and convenient. Like there's registered agent services. If you live in your own state, you can just be your own registered agent. It just means you receive mail for your business. Setting up a business checking. If you're going to start a corporation or any entity, even if you're just a sole individual, I would always start up a business. And if anyone wants recommendations, a business checking account, if they want recommendations, feel free to email me. I've got a few good referrals. And the reason why is, at some point in time, you may want to qualify for a loan, or either a regular mortgage or a business loan or a business credit card, or you need to add on a partnership. Giving someone business bank account, checking accounts information is very important. Plus, when it comes to depositing larger amounts of cash, transferring funds, it's more normal with a business checking account than a personal checking account. When I started our real estate brokerage back in the day for agents, I did it through a personal checking account because when I went to Wells Fargo, just to throw them under the bus, liked them for personal checking, but their business checking, they had all these crazy fees and minimums, and I didn't want to do it. And I eventually, every time I had to deposit a commission check, it would take 3 business days for it to clear for money laundering purposes. And so instead, I went and finally started up with a totally different business checking account with a different bank, and it made my life so much easier. I could do mobile deposits up to $50,000 a day. I mean, so many other things. So you could do some research. You do want to prepare your documents. So that's where you want to file the LLC. You want to get an employer identification number, an EIN, which once you create your entity, you literally take those documents, go right to, and you can Google it, how to get an EIN. You go right to the IRS website, submit those documents, boom, you get your number right then and there, or later. You have personal identification. Then you can take that EIN number, your personal ID, your articles of incorporation, which you get that when you file it with your Secretary of State. It's that document, says it right on the top. You take that right over to your bank, boom, you're good to go. And then make sure that if you choose a bank, just because you're new doesn't mean that the smaller banks are better for you. We have good recommendations because you want a bank that has good integration capabilities. Now, a bank is good for checking accounts, savings accounts, eventually some credit cards and stuff, but they're not always good for payment processing. A big mistake I made we had a farm where we sold flowers, pumpkins, all kinds of things. And I've had quite a few other businesses that had to collect payments from people. What a lot of people tend to do is they either go to their bank, which has high fees and monthly fees, or they go to like PayPal, Square, Stripe. Not to say that those entities are not good entities. It's just they can limit you. They're worried about you running out of funds. And so there's something called chargebacks or people declining or disputing your transaction. When people pay you for services or products and they dispute it later, you have to probably give that money back. And so a lot of these institutions that are really big are great because they just allow anyone to be approved. However, they're going to hold your money for a period of time and not release it. I had, $1,000 a month in expenses when I first started a real estate brokerage. I was signed up with a company. I'm not going to name their name, but they held all of our funds for 3 months. And I had to pay the bills on credit cards because they wouldn't release the funds. And it was so frustrating because they were worried about disputes and chargebacks. So working with a company, and this is what our company has worked to do, we offer payment processing that is directly through certain institutions that only focus on payment processing. You're going to have lower transaction fees. For instance, we were paying, I think it was like over 3% in transaction fees, and we got it down to like 1 point something. I don't know. Any business, I can just look at them and give them a quick quote right there on the spot. But you'll have lower transaction fees. You get local service versus just AI chatbots to help you, which some of the major ones, that's all you're going to get. And you want good insight reports. For instance, if you have any business idea that has inventory, you're going to want to keep track of what that inventory is. I even have cleaning company businesses that they want to sign up for subscription payments for all their customers, which this allows them, our platform allows them to, when they update their card, it automatically gets updated in your system. So you don't have to go hound them later when the transaction gets declined. But also, they basically keep inventory. So every time they have a cleaning, it tracks and notifies them, hey, you probably need to buy more of this product. Now, not everyone needs to do that, but some people, it's really helpful as you go to grow your business. Next is, of course, tracking the income and expenses. You'd be shocked how many things you're going to end up signing up for and forgetting about, and how often money's going to come in and fly right out. Your business needs your total focus and energy. Allow systems and technology at a super low cost to help run that financial tracking side. Our AI tool can allow you to get notifications. This is where your funds are unusually lower, that your expenses have been higher this month than last month. Your income is lower this month than last month. Your expenses this month are exceeding your income. All kinds of different notifications and alerts. That way you can focus on your business and just get notified when things are important that you need to pay attention to. Because you'd be shocked how much mental energy goes into running a business. From day one, just, build your business with purpose, have a good idea. Once again, have that credit monitoring tool available, which Kickoff is huge for that. Have income and expense tracking, but also have a good payment processing. Just because something is easy doesn't mean it's a good option to go with, because it's harder to switch things over. Although we have a team now that just handles the whole transition. So someone's already making payments through Square, let's say, but want to save more money per transaction and switch over to our platform, our team can just help with that whole transition. It's just, obviously, it's a little more daunting and nerve-wracking switching over to a whole new system. So start off more affordable right from the beginning. But other than that, I thank you everyone for joining. I'm going to let Kickoff take over from here, and I think they've got a little more to share in a brief survey.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being a part of our event, and thanks to our sponsor, Kickoff. So before you do go, I wanted to share, we would like to ask one final survey question, which I'm just going to be sharing in the chat again.
Awesome. And this will get posted online as well for anyone watching the recording. The survey links will be there as well.
Perfect. And what you would just basically need to do again is I'm just going to walk you through the process of filling in the survey. So yeah, so actually, let me share this. So yeah, so the question would be, do you remember the name of any company or tool mentioned that helps people build or rebuild US credit? I do remember, so I'm going to click on next, and then please type in the name. So it was Kickoff. And then based on what you heard today, would you consider using Kickoff to help build your credit in the US? I would say definitely yes, but it's totally left up to each one on what they would like to think. And they can go ahead and submit this survey then. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a few steps they would need to take to fill in these surveys.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Farmer.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for everyone for joining. We've got a few of these that we'll be doing. We're actually starting an online community for business owners. And so I'd love for, including with My Asset Path, it's going to be linked with Discord. So we'll have a Discord channel. And we're just trying to create a community where people can share different insights and ways that they can help each other. So if anyone's interested in joining that, please email me. My email is Cameron@purposehomelending.com. But thank you everyone for joining or for watching. You all have a great day. Thank you, Rahul.